Hey, what's up, Exit the Matrix family? Bob here. Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for joining me on this morning talk. So guys, I wanted to pick up where I left off with the video I did about, is the world controlled, or harvested by a Demiurge? And of course, if you guys watched that video, you'll know I was talking about what this lady had seen. That's and sorry, I still couldn't get her name for the talk today, but anyways, I'm sure if you follow the podcasts I do, YouTube channels and all that, you've probably seen her. But she does regular OBEs, been doing it for a long time, kind of similar to Darius J. Wright. If you haven't heard of him, look him up. He's an interesting guy, been doing it since he was like 14. Controlled OBEs, mapping the other side of the veil. Well, she's essentially doing the same thing, but she was talking about how you can go into the Matrix mainframe and you can actually energetically change coding and stuff, and like that can affect your life. And then when you come back to your body, it's kind of like hacking the Matrix in a different way, instead of just through the conscious energy. Well, I guess it is through the conscious energy still, but it's doing it outside the body instead of through the body, like you normally would do through prayer and meditation and such. But anyways, she'd mentioned that she'd never seen this, but this one time, this just recently when she did it, she's seen this giant dragon, essentially, like she's seen like a nail, a huge nail, like as big as a car or something. And then she's seen a scale as big as a car. She was getting like glimpses, and so she pulled her whole awareness out, because when you're in the out-of-body state, folks, and you're in pure consciousness, you can direct your, you have like pure reach sense-wise. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but like all your auditory, your visuals, everything is like superly amplified. Like you have 360 degree view. You can like zoom in like your sight like a microscope. You can like zoom far distances like a telescope, and it's really crazy. Like if you haven't heard NDE accounts about it, then you don't understand what I'm talking about. But anyways, she pulled her awareness out and she's seen this giant like dragon wrapped around the earth, and it was kind of looked like the Chinese dragons, like and then look, we've talked about the feathered serpent family, right? The Enkyites, like over and over and over again. Well, it's like it was almost more like a dragon, but shaped more like a snake, right? With like a dragon head, but it was kind of shaped like a lion. And it's interesting to note, folks, and she did allude to this, and she didn't know anything about the Nag Hammadi, but she did research into it later on. But if you go look up the descriptions of Yaldabaoth in the Nag Hammadi scriptures, the Gnostic writings, that's how the Demiurge of this realm is portrayed, as this giant worm or snake like dragon being with a lion's head. You can even see depictions of Yaldabaoth, and that's exactly what he looks like. So it's kind of interesting. So she mentioned quite a bit of Robert Monroe and the Robert Monroe Institute. And so I started doing some research on that yesterday to kind of add to this whole thing. Because, she was referencing Robert Monroe quite a bit, David Icke a little bit, and the Nag Hammadi as kind of reference points, to kind of cross-reference. Well, I started looking up into this Robert Monroe guy, and I've heard of him before, the Monroe Institute and all that, but I hadn't really done a deep dive into it. Well, it turns out that Monroe was involved with a lot of these guys that were in the what was it called? They were like the psychic soldiers, right? Was it Project Looking Glass or Project Stargate? I think Project Stargate. anyways, if you've seen the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats, right, with George Clooney, well, it was about these guys, these like psychic soldiers that would do astral projection and remote viewing, right, to spy on the Russians and other assets for the U.S. intelligence, for the military, right? They were like pushing the bounds of like, astral projection and stuff, and what you can do with that. And well, Robert Monroe was associated with some of these guys, though he didn't go the military route. He went a different route with it, and more in the public sphere. And he created the Monroe Institute as a way to research astral projection and remote viewing, and as a way to start making it accessible, the techniques, to the public. So honestly, man, a dude doing just some wonderful, great work. And this was like back in the 60s or 50s, 60s. I mean, it's a long time ago. Like, look, folks, all of this stuff we're learning now about NDEs and OBEs, and look, this is always, humans have always had these abilities, folks, for thousands of years. And that's where a lot of your religions are getting their basis for these prophets, for these prophecies and these visions, right, from God. Well, these were people having NDEs and OBE experiences. Then they were teaching about it. Like the yogis were teaching about this a long time ago. And then it was turned into religion. I already told you guys that Yeshua was an Essene, and his group, his core group, John the Baptist and the three Marys, that they would make pilgrimages to Egypt, and they would go through the sarcophagus ceremonies, the mystery school ceremonies that would make you have an OBE experience. So of course Yeshua spoke to God when he was having the OBE to the source, and he was coming back and teaching. See, folks, they deified Yeshua. Yeshua never wanted to be deified. He was just speaking the truth. I'm the Son of Man and the Son of God, as we all are, folks. You're the Son of God through your spirit, or daughter, son or daughter, you get it right. And through man when you're in the human avatar, okay? It's not hard to figure out, folks. My God. Religion pisses me off so much, dude. Religion is the black cube of Saturn. I've explained this over and over, and Christians getting all butthurt about it. I mean, they get butthurt about the cross being the black cube. When you open up the black cube, you have the cross, okay? When you fold it up two-dimensionally, you have the black cube. It turns it into a three-dimensional shape. The Abrahamic faiths are the black cube of Saturn, okay? Islam included. That's why they walk around the black box, Mecca, right? That's why the Judeans wear that little black box on their forehead when they go to the Wailing Wall. And look, folks, it's represented when you graduate high school. Everybody wears the black square on their head. I mean, it's a representation of the black cube, because we all are getting... They're initiating all of us into the black cube of Saturn, which is a control mechanism, probably by the same Demiurge, okay, to control spirits, immortal gods walking the earth, okay? It's all a sham, it's all scam, it's just, I get so tired of trying to teach people this stuff when all I get is like verses from the Bible thrown at me. Dude, your Bible doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know how many times I got to tell you. I'm not saying there's not truth in the Bible, but my God, dude, the Bible was written by men. Not by the source of all creation. Not by a God sitting on a throne in heaven, like a humanified, or, a human-like God, which is what Christians imagine. And I mean, it's ridiculous, honestly. It's no different than the Greeks, worshiping Zeus as a god sitting on his throne in heaven, throwing down lightning bolts. I mean, you guys know, right, that Zeus is the Sumerian god Enlil, right? It's the same god. God of the air, okay? The supreme commander of earth. Zeus is Enlil, okay? Oh my gosh, man, it gets so exhausting trying to explain this stuff to people. Look, folks, I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about a lot of these people that are constantly in my inbox, constantly in the comments, throwing verses at me, blasphemy, and you're going to hell. These are the idiots I'm talking about. They don't know anything. I mean, literally, everything they know is like relegated to a book written by men. You know, used by the power structure of the world to propagandize them and put their mind in a box. Right? See, that's the whole thing about opening Pandora's box. See, Pandora's box is the black cube, people. When you open Pandora's box, you have all chaos and all kinds of... What that means is that's not chaos to the world, it's chaos to the world controllers. When Pandora's box is open, that frees the minds of these gods walking the earth in human avatars to the fact that they're gods being enslaved. And of course it's going to cause chaos, because once gods know they're being enslaved and that they're infinitely powerful and immortal, now all of a sudden these world controllers have no power and they lose control, and it's chaotic to their structure. Similar to the Tower of Babel. We'll go into that another time, the real Tower of Babel story, because you've all been tricked to think it was evil humans trying to overthrow God. No, folks, it was humans that were gods that were enslaved by other gods, the Anunnaki, the Watchers. They were trying to overthrow these dictators, okay? Humans were working together for once. They had to stop that. And that God, Yahweh, is this God in Lil and the Sumerian, okay? That enslaved humans, that enslaved spirits in human bodies. I mean, my God. Folks, you're worshiping the devil. Those of you that are Yahweh lovers, you're worshiping the devil, the Demiurge, okay? This character we're talking about. Now, is he this big dragon? I don't know. And look, man, I don't know. It could have been symbolic what she was seeing. Who knows? But the Monroe Institute. So I started looking into this quite a bit. Well, this guy, you can go to the Monroe Institute. You can actually download... they have links to, like, they were like some of the first ones that utilized binaural beats to allow to put your mind into a theta state so that you can have OBE experiences, so you can have visions and astral project and all this stuff, right? Remote view. It puts your brain state in a calm, like, place where it allows the spirit to I don't want to say escape, but it allows the spirit more freedom. We'll say that, okay? It's not as tied into the body, you know, it loosens that tie. So, but it is interesting that in some of his books he's written about his experiences of all of his OBE travels and remote viewing and everything. He did talk about seeing these, like, dark beings on the other side of the veil that were, like, controlling this realm, controlling the Matrix. Now, if you read the Nag Hammadi, folks, it talks about the minions of the Demiurge, Yaldabaoth, are called Archons. Okay? And these Archons are, like, interdimensional beings that can, like, jump dimensions, and you could call them, like, demons. They feed off of energy. Okay? This is all explained, folks, in the Nag Hammadi scriptures. Imagine this. When you go read the Nag Hammadi scriptures to this day, you got to understand, these are like about 1,700-year-old writings, okay? It reads like a science fiction freaking novel. It's insane. And this was almost 2,000 years ago these books were written, folks. Some of them may be older than that because they were a compilation of writings, okay? It's very interesting. But in the previous video, I talked about how you can even experience being drained of your energy. Like, whenever there's you're putting out really exuberant energy or very angry energy or fearful energy, a lot of times afterwards you feel drained and cold because these things feed on that. And isn't it interesting, folks? I don't know how many of you caught this, but about a year ago, NASA came out and admitted that there's these things in the upper atmosphere that are like energy vampires. They're like these living plasma energy beings that feed off of energy. Do you guys remember, like, the old, like, NASA videos, like, where there was that, like, what was it, like an antenna pole or some weird pole sticking out from, one of their, orbiting like devices, right? And remember how there was that video and it showed all these little things flying around it? I mean, it looked like it was like under a microscope, and you have all those like microorganisms moving around. But this was in the upper atmosphere, like lower orbit, right? And there's it was like just teeming with things. And they were all like attracted to this rod, right? Like this antenna, whatever the hell it was. And probably because it had electricity. And they were probably feeding off that electricity. Or they were drawn to that electricity, right? And now in NASA, you can look it up. NASA's now admitting that there's these like literal like plasma energy beings that live in the upper atmosphere. Folks, I think NASA was doing a soft release, a soft disclosure of these archonic beings. Okay? And I don't know, maybe these are not even the archons, but they're another example of something that literally just feeds off of energy, off electricity and such. It's interesting, folks. And then we've got the whole AI thing, right? All these technocrats want to replace God or source with an AI God, right? To basically manage, they would say, but to enslave the world. A supercomputer ran super AI that manages the world, like a one world ruler, right? That is the Antichrist, folks, the Antichrist consciousness. That's what they're talking about. See, the Antichrist isn't some angel coming down to the earth to take it over. It's consciousness, demonic consciousness, that will take over the earth through these AI systems. Okay? And what do these AI systems need a lot of? That, remember Trump going on and on and on about how, we got to beat the Chinese and this rush to AI supremacy and all this. We got to double our energy output, which we're never going to do, folks. Look, the U.S. is, to build anything in the U.S. anymore, there's so much red tape and payoffs to freaking politicians that nothing gets built anymore. I mean, the U.S. is a joke, dude. Look at how long a simple road project takes in your town. I mean, it takes like 4 fucking years, dude, just to build like an extension on a 4-lane highway or something. I mean, they're talking about building hundreds of power plants to run AI. I mean, come on, man. We'll be lucky if we have 3 new power plants built in the next 15 years. I mean, what they're going to do, folks, is steal your energy. They're going to steal your energy and your water because these plants need tons of water to run to keep them cool. So, as they're building AI to enslave you, to allow these higher dimensional entities to run our world through the AI systems, the Antichrist, right? This grand consciousness. It's your power bills are gonna more than quadruple. Don't be surprised if in the next 5 to 10 years your energy bill is double what your mortgage is, because they're not gonna build power for you, folks. No power for you. Power's for the computers. You heard Trump. That's what he said. Nothing in his speech was about, guys, we're going to start building tons of power plants so that you all will pay less energy bills. And then when a power plant has a problem, there's so much extra power out there that we can shift power around the grid. No. It's so they can build a system to enslave you. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. So that this Demiurge could probably just manage the whole world through AI and the internet, right? Internet of everything, internet of bodies. I'm telling you, folks, it's so diabolical and demonic, and look, man, right, left, Trump, Biden, Kamala, whatever the hell her name is. These guys are all just puppets, man. It don't matter if they're rich, somewhat rich, even if they have good look, even if they mean well, they're being pimped and manipulated by these technocrats, okay? And we're all getting screwed in the long run. But They're going to take your power, your water. You're going to lose access to most of your water. You're going to have to be limited on water use. And I dealt with this when I lived in Colorado because of all the people moving to Colorado, and the water systems are heavily reliant on snowfall. And when you have dry years, right, with no snowfall or little, you go into water rationing. Well, you're going to be rationing water in most states because all that water is going to be running your power plants to run these AI systems. And so you're going to be on water rationing. You're going to be paying like probably double your mortgage in electricity bills just so you can be enslaved by their AI Antichrist system. And, remember that drill baby drill and all that? Boy, I haven't seen gas come down. Have you guys? It seems like it's just more of the same, right? We're still paying about, where I live, it's about $3 average, but it's been like that for the last 2-3 years. It hasn't gone down. It's just kind of stabilized. But see, their focus isn't on alleviating the burdens of the humans. It's on building our jailer, our overlord. And the reason why I brought all this up is because it ties in with this Demiurge, okay? Like, look, the world rulers all answer to a power behind the scenes. And it probably trickles its way up through these archons that are probably managing human puppets here on Earth. And it's through bloodlines and such, folks, okay? And it's all the way back to the Demiurge. Now, who is this Demiurge? Well, the Gnostics said Yahweh was the Demiurge, was the Yaldabaoth, folks. That he was the lying God of the Old Testament. And if you follow it all the way back through the Canaanites, up through the Syrians, the Babylonians, the Akkadians, to the Sumerians, you have Enlil, the god of the air. You would call him Zeus in the Greek pantheon, okay? That is your Demiurge. That's your god. That's sucking up all the energy that's going to come rule the earth. He is, and who is he the Messiah of? What tribe? We know this, right? That already rule the world in his steed through their worldwide Babylonian usury debt-based currency system. Currency, folks, currency. Money is a type of energy flow, folks, okay? Currency. That's why they call it currency. And trust me, you go into the whole Admiral Law, like word magic stuff. It's insane. Nobody breaks it down better than Jordan Maxwell. I wouldn't even attempt to try to break it down like Jordan Maxwell does. Look him up if you haven't. I'm telling you, you listen to Jordan Maxwell for just 3 hours and your mind's blown. You've learned more than you've probably learned your whole life if you haven't dug into these things. So we're building the beast, folks, okay? Quite, obviously. And all of our politicians are taking all of our money, all of our resources, and they're going to give it to this Antichrist system to enslave us. Worldwide enslavement. Okay? Like, look, we're already slaves. I've already told you guys that. But this is on a deeper level. It's going to be pure surveillance where everything will be surveilled. Your body, your thoughts, all your actions, all your movements, your money, everything will be 100% tracked. I mean, absolute, complete domination. This is what we face, folks. Like it like you guys, like, they're back in this race for AI dominance. Yeah, think about that. China and the United States fighting over who's gonna build the beast, right? First, right? Who's gonna totally enslave the world first? It's so disgusting and despicable. I gotta go, folks. I don't even like to think about this stuff. It aggravates me so bad that people are so asleep and they don't understand any of the symbolism. They don't understand any of the teachings. They don't know any of this stuff. You've got these idiots, all these Christians worshiping Yahweh, not even realizing that he's literally the devil. They've all been tricked. And then to go make it even worse, to say that it was Yeshua walking the earth. That was God. Yeshua was there at the beginning, and Yeshua was trying to say, like, he was telling the Pharisees and Sadducees, don't you know your father is the devil? Remember? And he was trying to tell us too that we're gods. He was saying, don't you know ye are gods? Yeshua was trying to teach us the truth, folks. And you guys all turned him into a deity. You worship him. You ask. And look, man, he's a powerful being. He's our brother. He's powerful because he did great deeds on the earth. Like he upped his spirit. He leveled up, okay? And he knows how to fractal his own spirit and to help a lot of people. He is powerful. I'm not going to deny a lot of NDE accounts, they meet Yeshua on the other side. He helps welcome us home, if that's what you're wanting, okay? He doesn't always show up on NDEs, but he does show up in a good, I'd say at least half, 50% of the ones I've heard. So I'm not denying that he wasn't a real person and that he's not a god. He is a god, but we are too, folks. My God, he was trying to wake you up to that. Remember, he said you can do greater than I even. Like, I mean, my gosh, folks, come on, man. Just religion. Don't you understand? Religion is like a weight, like a just a weight around your neck that holds you down. I mean, wake up, folks. It's time to wake up, man. Stop being sheep. Okay, what happens to sheep? Why do they call you a sheep in your religion? Well, sheep, it's word magic. Don't you understand? They're enslaving your mind and your spirit with word magic. A sheep gets protected by it thinks that the wolf is the enemy the whole time. And so you got the shepherd and the shepherd's dogs, right, are protecting the sheep from the wolves. But it's only so that later on, the shepherd can fleece the sheep. And then once they no longer need the sheep for fleecing, robbing them of their wealth, their wool and everything, right? Their comfort. Then the shepherd might get hungry and just go ahead and eat one of the sheep, And if the meat's too old, guess what they used to do? They would feed the dogs the sheep meat, okay? If it was too old and tough sheep, and a lot of times they eat the lambs, right? I mean, the lamb's better, right? We all know that. If you've had lamb, Americans don't really eat mutton, which is adult lamb. We eat lamb, the babies, right? So we don't even give the sheep a chance to even grow in the United States, unless it is just to be fleeced, and still even in the U.S., what do they do with the sheep? Once they're too old to fleece anymore, they turn them into dog meat. That's where you get your lamb dog food, okay? They sell it to dog food plants to make dog food. So think about that. Who's really the bad one, the wolf or the shepherd and his dogs? I mean, I'm just telling, man, my God, folks, come on, man. They tell you to your face. That's why they all laugh at you. That's why they all think you're a joke. Because you're too stupid to understand any of this stuff. I mean, they put it right in front of your face, and you'll sit there, I'm a sheep for the shepherd. I'm waiting for my shepherd to show up. Folks, my God, one of these days I'll break down Ainana and Demiurge, the good shepherd. Yeah, Demiurge, the good shepherd, and Ainana Ishtar, who goes down into the underworld where she's hung on a cross for 3 days and then resurrected. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, folks. It's insane. Absolutely insane. It's all just symbolic. It's all just pagan religions passed down over the ages. Just on and on and on. I'm going to do a breakdown of the sun cross too, because Christians don't seem to understand the origins of the cross, between the sun cross or the black cube cross. There's a difference between the two. And maybe in the next video we'll do on that. But I don't know. We might have to do a part 3 of this Demiurge thing, because there's still a lot more to go into on it. But I'd love to hear guys' thoughts. Do you think this world is controlled by this like this Demiurge, this main entity that rules, and maybe he has these minions, archons or demons, whatever you want to call them, or angels that manage this realm for him, and that he has designed a reincarnation trap so that he can keep feeding on our souls over and over and over again, right? It's like renewable energy. Renewable energy. Send the souls back into human bodies. Don't let them go back home to their real home. Build a false prison, all around them and trap them here, right? And then just keep on feeding off of them for eternity. So anyways, guys, I don't know. I hate when my videos feel like they're so dark, because ultimately I'm trying to wake you up, but I've also done videos on how we empower ourselves. And anyways, go look up some of those. How to interface in with the elements and the quantum field and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, guys, hey, if you're interested in one-on-one Zoom, check out the description in the the info in the description. And make sure you're following me over on Facebook too. Now that I got my page back, so it's been nice. It's taking a little time to get some steam built up, but we're gonna start going hard here really soon. So, anyways, guys, hey, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you later.